speaker and every leader, if you want to be a truly inspired, empowered, motivational leader, a change maker, you need to own your own story. There must be no skeletons in your closets in any sense. You need to come to terms with your past, your future, and your now. That being said, if you're somewhat of a sane person, of course you're gonna want to let go of some occasions in your past where maybe you were not your brightest and best. So in this video, I'm going to talk about owning your full story by owning the narrative. Owning your story is actually easier said than done, as when I say own your story, I don't necessarily mean you need to go into an explanatory state of telling anyone who cares to listen to your sad, sopping past experiences and transact in a look at poor old me manner with other individuals. No, this is not what I mean. Owning your story in a rhetorical, like lexical and neuro-linguistic point of view is much about leading the narrative in a way that empowers you. Like as an example, a story of failure can be reframed into a story of a lesson learned. Most probably the biggest lessons learned are right in the epicentre of your greatest fails. So these stories are vital for you and your success. You need to actively reframe them, to use the very best of storytelling skills actually, to create a narrative that gives you a sense of direction into a more open, bright and prosperous story of your future. All you have to do is kind of write down the story as you usually tell it and then reframe it using a couple rhetorical and lexical techniques. So I'm going to share some of them in the form of questions, and then you can answer the questions, and then those answers can help you reframe the stories. Okay, let's take a look. Number one, is the language you are using general or is it specific? Like, is it every time I try to, or is it that particular Sunday? It's always best to use specific language and avoid like generalizations in general. This is one way to foster optimism in your life. Number two, is the direction of the story past closed, or is it future open oriented? Meaning, I never had a talent for something. Or I could invest time in this, but I have different priorities right now. It's best to always keep your narrative open, future-oriented. This is basically how you can keep nourishing a sense of, possibilities and abundance in your life. Lastly, number three, the most important question: who are you in the story? Are you the hero? Are you the top dog, or are you the underdog? Someone in between, maybe an observer, or are you always the one who controls the situation? Like, do you blame yourself or hold yourself responsible even for actions of other people when something occurs? How do you talk about yourself? What adjectives are you using to describe yourself? Are they specific, like words of kindness? Are they nice and respectful? Or is the opposite true? It is so important to respect yourself, and by respect, I mean to have an active, respectful tone of voice, choose words that demonstrate respect, that communicate respect, structure sentences and stories that allow you to, have space to kind of F things up a little bit. Nothing's wrong with that, I guess. The most important thing when it comes to owning your story, in my opinion, is to display compassion for yourself. Care, compassion, respect, and love. No matter what your life is about, no matter what went on, make sure you embrace you love you, with no conditions attached. Unconditional love. Standing on stage, fully embracing your story means you are not out there on display. You are not out there to be judged. You are not open to any sort of critical harm because you're just there to give, that's all. That's the best space for a speaker to actually be in, like the full embodiment of empowerment, the full embrace, the full acceptance. The acceptance of the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's just me.